A warm welcome to this week's ORT, where our panelists discuss black on black violence.
Oh wow!
Yes, big one, isn't it?
Oh gosh, I figured
That's
a whole next thing. All right,
That's an hour long.
Okay.
All right, stop. Yeah.
It's all good. So welcome to this week's ORT with our resident panelists, Kindred Spirit, Brother S. Ebony Harmon is not here this week with us, unfortunately, and yourself, Kush. And we are talking about violence. Are we just a violent people? Now, the backdrop to this is, so I've been looking at some figures here. And basically, since about 2012, 2013, there's just been a rise of crime in certain areas. South Africa, Congo, Nigeria, Somalia, Jamaica, Chicago, Baltimore, and London. And we've had a look at some videos of some young people committing extremely violent crimes. In barbershops, of all places, where other members of the public are there and they're running into these places with machetes.
Children.
To kill, harm, and make. It's disturbing. And before we go into the debate, the other disturbing aspect is people are sharing these things on WhatsApp without preparing the recipient by saying, I'm sending something that's going to be unsettling, and you're just sending it to them, and over time you become desensitized.
Yeah.
So the question is, are we a violent people?
I think it's all about context, isn't it? And I think what you've described in terms of the statistics is a really disturbing pattern and sequence of events. But I wonder, first of all, what you would see if you contrasted that with 6 other countries or 7 other countries where the majority population does not look like us and where their crime rates are equally high in terms of who's doing what to who. So I think the world has basically gone in a very violent direction, and it seems to be amplified in our communities.
Okay.
It's not amplified in other countries. I don't know what the crime rate is in Moscow.
Okay.
But since the collapse of the
Soviet
Berlin Wall,
Okay.
there's a huge wave of crime going on there. A lot of that is gangster-led, right?
Yeah.
We don't know what the numbers are for that.
Yeah.
What I think would be interesting is that it's probably not amongst the young in the way that it is in our communities. It's not teenagers on the street.
Okay.
I don't get a sense that it's that. It's more grown men, and it's maybe a lot more organised. But I think it is particularly the wave of crime amongst our teenagers is something that I think is a response to the particular context that they are living in and what they feel is expected of them in a funny sort of way. This is now how
break that down for me, the context and how they feel.
I think what's happened over the last maybe 20 years, maybe a bit less than that, is a lot, the growth of social media and the messages that come through that about how you interact with each other as young people, and what you can expect, partly at home and also when you step through the front door.
Okay.
And if you are not getting what you feel you deserve, or you can expect in terms of a response or the way that people see you, your response to that should be to assert yourself.
This still sounds a bit coded. What are you saying in the kind of its most basic form?
In the most basic, I think there is the word respect and disrespect have been taken completely out of the context in which we would normally understand them, and so respect becomes the thing that you value most, right? That you are expecting of people, regardless of whether or not it's earned or deserved or whatever. I must be respected. Okay. And if I have a sense that you are not respecting me, I have the right then to respond to you in the most extreme way possible. Because I can't, if you're disrespecting me, you're making me look weak.
Yeah.
So in order to override that, I have to come back at you and hit you hard. Whether it's with a gun, whether it's with a knife, whether it's with whatever I can pick up.
Yeah.
Because if you're disrespecting me, other people will too, unless I show that I am not somebody to be disrespected.
So why is that happening to our community?
Because we do not get respect generally. Okay. So if I can't even get it, I'm not getting it out there in the wider population. Right? So if I can't even get it here, right? What's the point?
Okay, I'm gonna throw a spanner in there.
Okay.
Because other nations, whether it's Chinese, white, Indian, will disrespect us in different ways. But I don't see anybody running into the Pax hair shop and chopping up somebody in there for looking at us as if we're thieves.
That's true. Because
but let me bonks you on the street and see if you know one chap bill.
I think because there's a perception that they are superior to us, they're allowed to disrespect us. There's a status quo that we can do nothing about.
So we're easy pickings.
Yeah, so we're going to get disrespected by them anyway. And secondly, there are very real consequences to going in the pack shop with your knife, and you don't know quite what they're going to come back at you with, and the system is probably going to back them over you.
Okay.
So it's too big a risk.
Well, there's a number. I mean, a lot of the people who are incarcerated don't always hit the news.
Yeah.
But there have been some very high-profile sentences handed out, so they are being pursued by the authorities. And I can't remember his name. The brother who wrote Culture Vultures. He said black men, in particular, will be violent to other black men quicker than any other nation, despite what the other nation has done.
Yeah. And we see that being played out.
Yeah. So even though I take you on your point, you have some valid points about respect, but at the same time, there seems to be something that's disproportionate that's happening here. And because I don't know if you were able to listen to the program that I advised the other day, listened on Radio 4, they was talking about the problem, the tension between Tottenham and Wood Green. Yeah. But there's also tensions and rivalries within Tottenham.
Yeah. It breaks down and down and down,
So it seems really hard to understand how it's so insular and how it's so targeted.
Because their world has shrunk, okay? And whereas following on from the conversation that we were having before about we had connections over and above the little area that we were talking about the Black Renaissance and stuff. Their world has become so small that little area of territory, whether it's your postcode or whether it's that park over there, they're so overly invested in that and defending that because that's all that they perceive themselves to have.
Okay.
They have, even though in many ways the world has opened up, theoretically, through social media, it's actually shrunk. Because that is what they're seeing on there is a world that is beyond them, and they don't think that they have any access to, and there's nothing there that reflects them. So all they've got is this little bit of territory that they occupy, and I will die defending it.
Okay.
And it's a nonsense.
Yeah, it's
a nonsense, and they've been blindsided.
Yeah.
Right? This idea about defending an area that they'd be quick to destroy. You look at any riot that we've had in the last 40 years, we tend to mash up the places where we live without thinking, all right, when the dust settles and the smoke thing, where am I going to live tonight? Where am I going to sleep tonight? So the thought process that goes in, I understand the necessity to show our anger because we have been disrespected. We have been often placed at the bottom of the pile. And we know that crime, regardless of colour, goes synonymous with poverty and deprivation. In all of those places that you've mentioned earlier on, Kush, there will be a level of deprivation and poverty in all of them places. that will run across. And remember, when we talk about class, we talk about the working class, we need to start again at the end of the working class. We have to put the black working class. It's a whole nother category in of itself that sociology didn't even have on there until we introduced it into the game. We had to say, well, hold on a minute, you don't classify us in that working class. We're not even part of that. We had to say there's another category and another one beneath that. And so within that, it has been manifested in such a way that it is so self-destructive to the point where I don't know that these young people actually sit down and think about when I'm going to stab that guy over there because he's from E5 and I'm from N16. I'm going to stab him implicitly because that is the case. I'm only stabbing him because he's from N16 and he shouldn't be in E5. I don't think these guys sit down and I think there's cause and effect. And I think in a very simplistic form, we tend to find, long time ago, one of them did something to one of them.
Okay. Revenge.
And the revenge thing, and by the time you get hooked up in it, it's 3, 4, 7, 8, 9 of them in there. For each of that, some will be incarcerated. And they're saying, when I come out, we have to exact revenge. And we have to go and show them not to disrespect us. Because it seems like those young people are living in one of only 2 categories that seems to exist with them. I'm either a perpetrator or I'm a victim. And the big bit that used to exist in between, which I was part of, I saw the street, but I wasn't street. I could have been street, but I don't know.
So what made the difference for you?
The stars align differently. One, definitely, categorically, I was more fearful of my father than I was of the police. In a healthy way.
Well, you bring it on to another topic. Is this a result of the role that black men have in society now?
I can speak
partially.
I can speak for my daddy. One, I didn't want to disappoint him, but 2, when you looked at him and he said, "Me nah joke,"
you knew
you never wanted to ever test him. So you held your corner, and it was for me it was grounding. Okay, so I can go this far with him. And even without his authority, I might be able to look out there and somebody might come to me and say, "Sinclair, check this, we're going to do this move." And I might say, "Move where? To do what? Because why?" I might ask all of them questions first.
Court might keep so
right? If any one of them that was telling me, "Come, let's go," hesitated at telling me why and what the gain was for me, the profit was for me, the benefit was for me to go, I said, "Binago." If you hesitated, go where? To do what? No, I don't. What do you mean? To do what? Okay, well then, tell you what, you lot go ahead. I'll catch you up tomorrow. That was my saving grace. And probably, I'm glad then that maybe I was cowardly. Maybe part of me said, "No, I'm scared." Maybe it was the fear of everything, about getting caught, about going to somewhere and doing something that before they put it into my brain, I wasn't even considering the concept of going to do. And now I'm having to go and do this thing that actually it doesn't run well with me ethically and morally. So you know what? If in doubt, go without me.
And unfortunately, some of us have to go to prison and get a 21, 25 year stretch before we start to have that fear.
All this idea about, being a grass and a snitch and all this kind of stuff. I'm like, wait a minute. I speak to black men all the time. Wait a minute. So you don't do something, but you roll with your brethren who doesn't inform you before it goes down what you're going into.
Joint enterprise.
Right? And then you get nicked for it also, and you're looking at 19 years as part of that thing. You're looking at 19 years, right? And you're telling me that what you're going to put before that is you're willing to rid yourself of 2 decades potentially of your life in order to keep quiet so that your brethren who hasn't even apologized to you is going to say, well, me and him is cool and we can fist pump and talk to each other down the pipe and send each other letters. Nah.
I mean, I'm still trying to understand why it is the violence just concentrates in one place. Al Pacino in Scarface, he has become an emblem for our certain members of our community in ways in which he hasn't in others. And then that gets translated into the music. And I haven't done any research on this, but I'm surprised if there's another nation of people who has as much violent music as we do.
Well, we had it before him. Imagine Jimmy Cliff.
Yeah, no, we had it, but we knew that Jimmy Cliff was a bad man.
Yeah.
But this now is a kind of epidemic where as the video showed, it was the youngest of children, the longest of Mashi, who want to go out there and do something to emulate something, because people didn't try to emulate Jimmy Cliff. We might have tried to emulate Bruce Lee.
Yeah. Okay, I'm with you.
Do you understand?
Yes.
And also,
but people didn't, because I can remember going to clubs and people coming there and robbing the clubs, and everybody was in shock because we didn't think that would happen. We thought those people was some form of pariah. They was part of our community, but there was a minority and we wanted to cut them out.
Exactly.
But now this thing is spread. So I'm curious as to why we end up latching onto it in this way when other people aren't.
Because we've claimed it as ours. Somehow it's been flipped a bit, and it seems to be that people think this is the voice of.
Okay.
They're talking about our reality. And
it's my language.
Young people are being drip fed this day in, day out. Because you might have listened to Jimmy Cliff, but you weren't only listening.
No.
You had probably a much broad within our genres.
Yeah.
You had a broad. They're listening to only that.
And just like brother, my daddy was a bad
out,
man.
Day in, day out. Yeah.
Okay. Right.
Yeah.
But also, in this time, we can talk about it historically and anecdotally about some of the things that might have been the blockers to us deciding to become bad men.
Yeah.
But in this time, there still is this. If you think, we are still the bottom of the pile. So when we say why haven't things changed, well, until some of those things change that create.
You're talking about poverty now.
It's relative poverty is still here. Relatively, as brothers, we still struggle to get jobs. Relatively.
Yeah.
And relatively, that might be because relatively, we're still struggling to come out of the education system with sufficient qualifications to compete.
I'm going to challenge that.
Okay.
With the basis, not that if you have a nice pair of trainers, it doesn't make you poor. But these people don't look poor. They're riding scooters. They have nice clothes. They are living in houses. They're not even living on estates. So I'm wondering if self-hate is more of the issue over poverty.
I would still, when you look at the areas
yes, we aren't top of the pile. Don't get me wrong.
Okay.
But in terms of what poverty is, because I'm a hand-me-down person. The first good pair of trousers I wear to school, I had to work on bikes and shoes and because I was tired of the hand-me-downs. They're not doing that. They have smaller families. They have their games consoles. They're going to restaurants. They're having holidays. They're getting supported with their Kuman lessons. They're getting supported with their extracurricular activities. Don't forget, when you and I was in school, you could look around, you won't see any black parents there after school.
No, they went by itself.
You're on your own. You're on your own.
But in this world now where there is this idea about gratification, immediate gratification, right? This perpetuates a situation where they're saying, look, I might not be relatively rich, but I can make myself relatively rich relatively quickly. By going over here, and I'll just take it from you. I can take it from you.
Okay.
And
the materialism.
The huge thing about
down
all
on
of those
who go out and work.
All of those things that they can acquire, material things that they can acquire, that somehow raises their status.
So there is a thought process behind it.
There's to the self gratification is because remember it lasts only as long as the time that they receive it. So I want the new pair of trainers. And they get the new pair of trainers, and after a week, the new one foot is under the bed and one is the door wedge. So for the time, it's that immediate consumption. You know,
but that could be theft. It's a killing.
Yeah.
It's the same.
I don't know.
I don't know if it
because
is.
if you want to
know.
rob from a shop to get something or rob someone to get something, but here sometimes, this is why I said if you going back to the program you listen, it's actually a drill artist that said something in a song. Some people have heard the song, and then they think, right, we have to go kill someone.
Yeah. It's an outlet for something else. I think I agree with everything that you said, but I think to take it to the level of killing, there's something else.
Because they're not even getting any material.
There's something on top of all of that. There's something almost subliminal being programmed into
like the pipe.
It's like
desensitizing them.
Like the pipe.
Yeah.
Not only will I kill you, but afterwards I'll have no remorse or show no regret. So they are devoid of empathy.
Yes.
So this is a being, you know. This is a being. They're not robots.
Yeah.
This is a being where part of them has been either deprogrammed or reprogrammed to the point where empathy is removed from them. Consciousness is removed from them. So they can do some horrendous things and go to chicken shop after and laugh about it.
What chicken shop? You mean social media?
I'm saying whatever they're doing after, they're not going home shivering, thinking, oh my God, I'm ruined and I better tell. No, they're not.
You know something, when you speak, it sounds like they're not even human beings.
That's what I said about reprogramming and deprogramming.
Are you afraid of your own people?
Yeah, man.
There are certain groups of young people I would hesitate to walk past.
Yeah.
I'm afraid.
I'm afraid.
I'm afraid, and I won't show them it.
Yeah.
But I'm afraid. I'm afraid, and I'm angry.
Yeah. Disappointed.
I'm saddened by it. They are a reflection of me. Every time one of us gets killed, I am hurt by it. I cannot not be hurt by it. And then I wonder about my uselessness. I feel useless that I'm talking about, oh God, who was it? Oh my days. Yeah, that's really sad. And then I am desensitized. I don't even get a long enough period to grieve about it. Without
another one coming along.
Another one happened again Saturday, and another one came on the Thursday. So they all get gelled into this mishmash of I couldn't even retain the first child's name.
Yeah.
You understand? To think about their family and to mourn their spirit and everything. And then there's another one, and I think I've become part of that desensitized existence where
it is hard. Because you're not talking about our generation, you're talking about the ones coming up. So is this what the future for a percentage of our community is going to look like? It's not the ones who already passed through and you can kind of write them off to something. This is what's coming up behind us.
We've lost so many of our princes and our potential real McCoys and our potential Francis. Right? We've lost, and our potential Marcus Garvey.
Yeah.
We've lost so many of them, and for me, the saddest part is I can't see how it's going to stop. Can't see it's going to stop anytime soon. I cannot. I feel so
helpless in the situation. I mean, one of the things that's been said to me on a number of occasions is parents, and if it's a single parent home, it's usually the mother. They know what their boys are up to. And yet they act like their boys deserve defending from them as a parent.
There is some truth to that. And sometimes there are elders within that family network who also well know and who sometimes are enticing some of these teenage boys.
Well, they're benefiting from some of it.
It's a family tree.
All of it,
This is what we do in this family. Some families are carpenters, are bakers.
This is what we do.
We do crime and killing.
Well, some have got older brothers and some have got uncles and cousins who are in it.
Yeah.
So it does become part of the family thing, especially if they're able to say, listen, two of my cousins stay in Berlin now, and I go and visit them, and it becomes part of the family narrative, part of the family script.
I'm still struggling with it. I have a cousin in New York. He's doing 500 and something odd years. You have some killings. But no, that never enticed me. That never enticed me one bit. So even though it's there, and I've had brothers who have been Abitan who when he was young, but I've always looked up to my father, and as we said when we was young, as we was told when we was younger, you have a trade.
Yeah.
So for me, it was about getting a trade. It wasn't about, even though I knew I grew up around criminality, it was about getting a trade and being independent. So I'm still struggling with this, and my father would not have accepted it. My mom would not have accepted it. They know somebody out the road last night, I'm coming with new tracksuit and money, I'm in work, I chop up somebody, and they would not accept it.
Yeah, absolutely.
They would not accept it.
But where's the balance for a lot of these young boys then? Who's giving them a sense of something else? There's nothing to balance it out. So all they're getting is this continual drip feed. They're plugged into the music. They're little group of whether they're associated. They're all
and
on
then
the
you,
same.
And then when
there's no counterbalance.
YouTube is sending them more videos that they've clicked on of a similar like, so they can stay in their mind.
So that's reinforcing everything that they're already thinking.
So what we're talking about is mental illness.
I think it is.
Wow. Oh, well,
psychological.
It's a programming. I think you used the word. It is a programming of sorts, and they're plugged into it.
And the rap artists, Biggie Smalls, to come right down to they are perpetuating this image of do or die or get rich.
Okay, but remember they said the difference was that they understood it was entertainment.
Yeah.
And to their defense, many of those rappers came out and said, listen, I don't live this life.
Yeah, but nobody hears that part. They're playing the songs.
Okay.
And you can even see the songs affecting people who drive in their cars, because once you start listening to that music, you lean over, you look tough up, you're just ready for a road.
Completely changes it,
So the kind of sanguine speech, and I've heard Dr. Dre speak about his wife telling him when he started to make clean music, he needs to go back to calling women bitches and hoes and all the rest of it, because that's what sells. So they're not hearing the sanguine speech. What they're doing is playing the music. And there's been research done in 2016 to show that violence music is closely associated with violent behavior. Okay, so what will you do different after this discussion, or is there anything you can do?
It's very hard to know, because I share what Brother S was saying about I don't have any kind of answer to this. I don't have any kind of answer, and I don't know if I am at a point now where I would even be able to go up to a group of our young men and start a conversation with them to even start that kind of dialogue. It's got to that stage.
And I'm in a position where I can go and speak to some of them, and I do, but I am dismayed often by their apathy and indifference about hurting each other, about the sense that, hey, one day you, another day me. If I don't hurt them, eventually they'll come for me. So better I get in there first mentality.
But
again, that big thing about remorse and the lack of it is something that it's got me in a stupor. I'm so sad, beyond words, and helpless also beyond words, because I can't see all of the things they're saying. What should we do? How can we tackle it? I think it's gone so far, and it would require so many different things to be invested in order for it, and time and effort, and it's a whole generation of kids that we're probably going to have to forego and say, let's start with
that's where I'm at.
See what I'm saying?
Yes, man.
So that's a whole lot of work.
Yeah, man. For me, I'm going to spend a little bit more time kind of looking at researching this whole phenomenon, because it's just too big. It's not just London. As I said, we talked about many places, and trying to look at, like what you said, how can we encourage parents with very young children to train them, to actively, don't parent them, train them, strategically plan for the first at least 13 years on what they're going to be doing, how they're going to be doing it, when they're going to be doing it. So you don't see yourself as a parent anymore, or just as a parent, you see yourself as a trainer. So you have to be prepared. And that's the message that I would try to send to people. But yes, thank you very much. Thank you.
Boy, that's a...
Included below are related links to this discussion. Please share, comment, and subscribe. And remember, talk the thing.